Hello everyone, this is Defense Politics Asia, and this is the summary for the day of 1158 for the 26th of April. Of course, we are well into 27th of April, and this includes all the latest frontline changes report as per this recording. So we are like now is Moscow time is 8 p.m. So we are well into 27th. Like I said, all the frontline changes report until this moment of 8 p.m. plus in Ukraine and Moscow will be inside this report. So you're not going to miss anything. So we're going to start off with the Kursk front, where the greatest updates are happening. The Russians have announced the full liberation of the Kursk region. They have said that they have completed the operation to neutralize the Ukrainian formation on the territory of Kursk region, and they have liberated Gornau, the last settlement to be controlled by the Ukrainian forces, and remaining units have been pushed over the state border. As much as they say this, we still do not have this mapping yet. So it probably will take a few days for the updates to really update our map. So this is important to note. Like I always say, our mapping is based on the best information that we have, but we cannot take anyone's words for it. No, we have to have a mapping as a source, as a reference. So anyway, in the Kursk region, we do have geolocation of Russian forces in Gornau. So this geolocation clearly shows that they have basically the entirety of Gornau almost. There's still a little bit of Gornau left, which is why I haven't awarded the flag to the Russian side. But of course, chances are they have already taken this part as well. So we shall wait for more mappings to update, be it the pro-Russian side or the Ukrainian side. That will help for us to update this mapping. In the north of this region, the Ukrainian mapping have updated the mapping to show that there's a whole wide front advance by the Russian forces from Oleshnya all the way to Gornau, with the Russian forces continue to advance around an average of around 1 kilometer towards the border. Again, like I said, we still do not have the full confirmation that the Russians have taken control of all the way to the border, but definitely the Ukrainian forces are on the tactical retreat, or tactical route, or tactical reverse offensive, whatever you like. And the fighting is still being reported at Oleshnya, according to Deep State UA and Ryber. So there is still fighting in these regions. So despite the declaration of the full capture, there is still some fighting in this sector. Over in the Sumy sector, Loknia, there's geolocation of Russian forces in Loknia. This basically brings a huge amount of Sumy territory under Russian control. And as I mentioned before, once we can confirm the capture of Oleshnya and Gornau, the front line will change name from the Kursk front to the Sumy front. And according to various indications, the Russians are going to create a buffer zone in the Sumy region as well, very similar to what they have done in the Kursk front. So we shall see where the Russians want to establish this border, this buffer. This buffer zone isn't that huge, on the Kursk front. Sorry to make you dizzy. This one over here, this buffer zone in the Kursk front protects. The idea is to protect Belgorod. So if they are going to establish another one here, I'm not sure where they're going to establish the line, because they probably would have to take all these various towns and then keep a distance from the forest. They may have to take Saki and the forest around it, and they probably maybe want this forest as well. And south of Gornau, they may have to take all the way to this point. Yeah, they may have to take all the way to this point, because to make it a defendable place, you need you need the geography to make sense. So that's something to note of. I will probably do a separate video no projecting where the Russian lines would want to be the final lines of buffer. So we shall see how that goes. Over at Velika Rubitsia, there is a FPV drone strike hitting a bridge. So that happened, but no, a mine bridge. So no, so Ukrainians clearly is there. The Ukrainians mining the bridge makes a bit of weird sense. Why are they mining that bridge? So maybe there's a translation problem, I'm not sure. Over in the Belgorod incursion, there is also major news. So first thing first, the strategic situation. Fighting is reported at Maropilsky, Turoya, as well as shelling at Mihailivsky. Over at Popovka, the Russian forces have captured Popovka from the Ukrainian forces. Over at this geolocation, a Russian soldier is basically strolling down the street with a Russian flag, basically showing how confident the capture is. So Russian forces have recaptured Popovka, so which means that yes, all the cards are get burning out. Zelensky is really running out of cards. Like, all these regions are supposed to act as cards they can play in negotiations with Putin, in any negotiation, but he's running out of the cards. Now according to the Russian sources, Demidovka is already taken back by the Russian forces. Now they have lost Popovka. So what's left? There is hardly anything left. The Ukrainians have burned out all the cards. And yeah, that's the situation right now. And that probably explains the emergency or urgent meeting with Donald Trump at the Vatican City. Not sure what was what was being said, but I got a feeling that Trump is going to tell him that just give it up, just surrender, don't fight on. There's no point to it. And Zelensky would probably tell him that they have to fight on. Yeah. Just like you got ditched or dumped by your boyfriend or girlfriend, and then you feel like there's still love, but then yeah, that kind of situation, like you cannot believe that you're getting dumped, and like that you really want it to work, but you're dumped. That kind of situation, that feels like it. In the Kharkiv front, there is a geolocation of a armored combat vehicle getting destroyed or hit around the south of Volokivka, or the south or the eastern part of Volchansk. That's about it. There's nothing at the Kharkiv front. We go into the Voreshna front. At the Voreshna front, this is Voreshna. We have a few reports. In the northern flank, we have fighting reporter at Kanyamka. The Battle of Kanyamka continues. Then there's fighting reporter at Krasny Pershi. So that's about it for here. Nothing particularly stands out. There is battles here, but I mean, it is possible. We haven't seen much about Krasny Pershi for some time, and maybe this might even be the wrong report. Yeah, because I just now I mapped all this. Yeah, this is the wrong report. So let me change. This is because this is the 27th report. This is today's report. So yeah, I will change it later. Because just now I mapped the wrong report, wasted like quite a bit of time. But yeah, so this Kayamka, I got a feeling that because of the end of the Kursk front, the Russians are now changing their side, putting their side now on the Voreshna front, and no, they may want to push harder in this sector. In the Voreshna and the southern part region, Russian forces are attacking towards Kutivka and towards Moskovka. Moskovka, of course, could be a shelling report, and we move on to the Kupiansk front. This is the Kupiansk front. We only have fighting reported Kupiansk. The rest of the front line, nothing to talk about. And we move south to the Borova front. At the Borova front, we have the same as usual, the two-prong attack. In the north, we have Kryakivka, Zarizove, and Nova Kryakivka, and also fighting at Nadia. So on its own, nothing particularly special about this. This is pretty common now. You should know if you're following the SITREP. Over in the Liman front, this is Liman, and in the northern, this one is the northern flank, this is the southern flank. in the northern flank, we have fighting reported at Cherniškina, Novomikhailivka, and Nove. So this is the places that, and Kharkivka are almost missed it. Yeah, so this is the places where the Russians are pushing. On its own, nothing particularly stands out to me. This is of course a bit unusual. We haven't seen Cherniškina being mentioned since 24th of March. So this is not a very usual place to see reports being reported. Over in the south, we have fighting reported at Zarishny, shelling at Yampil, and Scherbynivka is mentioned again as part of the Liman Front report. So it might be operations in the Serbianske forestry near the Seversky Donets River. That's possible. So no, this is Seversky Donets. But yeah, this is like, a bit weird that it's like a separate report. Over in Siversk front, other than the Serbianka one, there is fighting reported at Bilohorivka and Verkhomokonyanske. So otherwise, yeah, that's all. This is the same as the previous report. And over also there's a geolocation. Over at Kharkivka, there is shelling of Ukrainian positions over here. So clearly the Ukrainians have a position around here, and then the Russians previously was geolocated around this sector. So the Russians are making this push towards Kharkivka. So that's at least quite nice that we know that the Ukrainians are there. So that helps with mapping. Moving into the Bakhmut front. So at the Bakhmut front, as you can see, this is Bakhmut, and the fighting is mainly in the south. We have fighting reported at Chasivya, Stuposhki, Preteshne, Bilohora, Dilievka, and Kudyomivka. So that's all around here. In today's report, there is actually also Ozyaranivka, but no, like this is yesterday's SITREP, so I'm not going to talk about it, but generally the strategic situation remains the same. Over in the Thorax front, so this is Thorax, this is the New York front. At the Thorax sector, we have fighting reported at Druzhba, Krimsky, Thorax, as well as Leonidivka. However, it was the latest geolocation that is very, very interesting. The Russian forces basically has now confirmed to have entered into the northern parts of Scherbynivka. This is actually today's mapping, today's geolocation, with Russian forces basically appearing in the north, coming from this strong position that the Russians have held. They have basically, attacked into the northern part of Scherbynivka, and clearly they have established some kind of foothold in the settlement. This is bad for the Ukrainians because if the Russians are here, then the Ukrainians will not be able to reinforce the rest of the settlement unless they have to come from the other side. And so any operations in the around here is going to be very, very difficult to reach, and the settlements here will have to depend on this bridge around here. So, and of course they can cross there's not a bridge, this is actually just a path. So yeah, it should be okay, then it should be okay. But their connection is broken, so they have to depend on Katerinivka, so to reinforce this part. But you can see the front line is very long, which is why the Russians could potentially attack in any sector, and that is what complicates defending. And this is also probably why we have Nelepivka the dinosaur, because the Ukrainian lines, the number of troops that they have defending might be very stretched, which allows the Russians to basically penetrate in multiple possible locations. So this is probably yet another one of this possibility where the defenders here are a bit low on numbers, and the Russians managed to make a breakthrough from this sector. The distance advance is around 1 kilometer, around 1 kilometer on average. So this is a pretty significant advance from the Russian side. To this facility is around 1.25 or 1.3 kilometers. So that's it from the Thorax sector. New York sector, we have nothing much, only fighting reported at Suka-Balka, according to the Ukrainian Defense Ministry, and that's all. We move on to the Pokrov front. This is Pokrov, and this is the Pokrov front. Over in the northern sector, over in the northern flank, we have fighting reported towards Novopotavka, and Yelizaveta and Novotoretsk. At Berezivka, we finally have corroboration of the Russian claims of the capture. So previously, the Russians have announced the capture since the 14th of February, Valentine's Day. And we only now finally have the geolocation of Russian forces, which confirms the Russian capture of Berezivka. And this is pretty significant, if you ask me, that we have this confirmation. And with Berezivka, this could potentially become a pretty strong defense line around here, which guards the north against the Ukrainian incursions. Of course, there is also this potential defense line that is mapped by someone else. Maybe is there. So no, this becomes the no man's land, right? So this becomes a no man's land. We shall see how this goes. How they continue to develop. So that's it. So we move to the Minokhrad sector. So Novotoretsk, yeah, correct. So over at the Minokhrad sector, fighting is reported at Promin, Minokhrad, Lysivka, the Chenske. I almost cannot find the Chenske because I haven't heard of the Chenske for a long time. I need to search for it, like Teneno Pokrov. So the Chenske, the last report was on the 12th of March, which is like, no, forever. I haven't heard of it so long. And there's the geolocation of Ukrainian LDPE. I have no idea what's the LTPE. I haven't really searched what's the LDPE. It's a low density polyethylene. So no, it's a low density polyethylene. So no, yeah, whatever. That's just some vehicles, I believe. It got destroyed. Just off Mykolaiv. So that's all. Over the rear positions, there is a shelling reported at Ilinivka, not important, like it's very far away, and also Khryshcheny. Of course, as usual, Konstantinivka is always mentioned, but I don't really map it in because it's like a waste of time. Over in the Pokrov sector. So at the Pokrov sector, okay, this is a bit difficult to decide how to map, how to report. Okay, I just got to put it on the entire western flank. We have fighting reported at Udashny, Uspenivka. There is attack at Krylyakivka, Preobrazhenka, towards Muravka, towards Novomykolaivka. And also this is the strategic reporting, from the both sides. And over in the north, we have geolocation of Ukrainian forces at Kotline. So these are confirmed. This mapped again LPDE, and also this actually results in some frontline change. Of course, the Russian claims is now invalidated. I should actually map this in. Kind of like didn't take note of this clearly. So let's map it like this. So this is Kotline, Russian claims invalidated. So 26, I think. So there's yellow. So this is 27. So it is 27. So this is a frontline change in favor of the Ukrainians, confirming the Ukrainian advance in around Kotline. In the south, we have, however, the Russian advances. So geolocation of Russian forces at Uspenivka and Nadievka confirmed the Russians' capture of Nadievka. So the capture is now confirmed. And also the Russian forces also advanced a tree line over at Uspenivka, confirming some advance in this area here. So that's all. Nothing particularly special about all this. Like this is just a validation of the Russian claim at Nadievka. Here, this is actually, I think, reported in the SITREP already previously. This is just an advancement as the Russian forces now move towards Novo-Alexandrivka. So this is the significance of this geolocation. However, we shall wait for more information. The fighting is not even reported. So let's see. Over in the Komar front. So this is Komar, and over at the Andriivka sector, we have the fighting reported as usual at Andriivka, Rozliv, as well as Odradny. There's a geolocation of Russian forces south of Bahati, which is pretty significant because this leads to some major tactical changes in this sector, and the Russians are now merely 2.5 kilometers away from Bahati. So this is actually coming from the south. This will eventually lead to a possible two-pronged attack from the east and from the south, and that will compromise Bahati. So which is why this is significant in that sense. The geolocation of logistic by FPV drone hit by FPV drone at Odradne simply confirms Ukrainians are still at Odradne. So that's all. This geolocation basically captures two of the settlements, two of the fortifications, and along with some of the tree lines. I'm very tempted to draw it like this, but I try to be a bit more conservative. So that's all. That's what it is. Over on the other side, on the western flank, we have fighting reported at Dnipro and Echeia, Privyone and Venipole. So this is interesting because the Russians seems to be wanting to advance again northward. This is usual. The Russians still have not been able to capture the twin town. They're still stuck at Venipole. So and geolocation at Koma, yet another logistic getting hit. So that's about it in this area here. And there's also people keep asking me, they cannot see the border. This is the border. But if I make it very outstanding, then it's very distracting, which is why it's gray. Yeah, the border of the oblast is actually all there. So over at the Zaporizhia front, this is Zaporizhia, we have reports of fighting across all three sectors. So we have fighting reported at Melanivka, over at Stepove, Mali Shebaki, Novoandreevka, and Mala Tomashka. So across the entire Zaporizhia front, there is Russian pushes all across. Of course, the main push is still over in the Kayamsky sector and Orikhiv sector. So the Huaypole sector here, this Huaypole, I don't think this is the main push. Although it is very interesting that we previously have reports of fighting at Visoke and now Melanivka. So something might be brewing, but I don't think it's something serious because it's not very strategically important to hit this place. It's more useful to really cut the highway around this sector. So, and the Russians have invested a lot of lives and time and resources on Mala Tomashka, Novoandreevka, Mali Shebaki, Stepove. So I think this region still remains to be the main Russian attack. And then we move on over, there's shelling reported at Stemnohurst, by the way, not important. And over in the not important front, the Kherson front, there is shelling reported at Tokarivka, Mykolaiv, and Antonivka. With fighting reported in the Dnipro direction by the Ukrainians. But yeah, nothing particularly special about this, and that's it. So this is the situation report or the summary for the day of 1158 for the 26th of April. So thank you for watching. Do press the like button, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next update. And happy birthday to you. And watch the DPA open mic. I'm gonna do this right after the this SITREP is published. See you guys.